Hello and welcome. Hi, welcome to our next live stream from Hotel Spider. Today we're going to talk about change projects, change management. We want to talk about hotel technology selection, also implementation, and we're going to use the example of a channel manager, which is what we do a lot here at Hotel Spider. So we're going to use that as an example for a couple of ideas when it comes to change management and hotel technology implementations. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Thank you that you're here live with us, or if you're watching the video later. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So wherever you are on whatever platform, welcome. It's great to have you here. Also, feel free to ask questions. You have the chat function. We do see your comments and questions, and we're happy to try to answer them during or in the end of the live stream. Here with me today is Maria Santos, one of our excellent
Hi.
onboarding specialists. Thank you very much, Maria. We had a bit of a different plan today, so Maria jumped in last minute this morning to join me. Unfortunately, Marco as well as Susanne, who were indisposed today, could not join the live stream. So Maria was really kind, so I don't have to monologue here to join me. Thank you very much, Maria.
You're welcome.
As I said, we want to talk about change management in very general terms, but then also specifically about channel management. It's quite a hands-on topic. We do a lot of change projects every month. New clients join our platform, and we help them to get onboarded, to get online. We see a lot of these change projects, and we see customers, hotels that manage these projects really excellent, where it's really smooth and well planned and well managed. But we also see the other examples where the projects are maybe could be done a bit more smoothly. So we want to bring you some do's and don'ts in this area of when you select, but also when you implement a new technology. We're using channel management specifically. I think it's an interesting example because it involves a bunch of different stakeholders that either work with the software or need to be connected. And we also have a lot of experience with onboarding projects in this area, so we're going to use often channel management as an example. Let's jump into the topic. Again, if you have any questions, please add them to the comment section. Let's go have a conversation first about software selection very globally. I think it's really important to get away from a purely gut feeling kind of selection when it comes to software. It's great to get in tips and ideas from your colleagues, but try to find a structured approach to software selection very globally. And I think the best place there to start is to really define what are the must-haves, what do I need to have. This we're going to talk about in a second about channel management specifically. But just in global, what are the functionalities? What is this piece of software supposed to do for me? And then also add some nice to have. So what could it also do, or what would be great if it also did, or what functionality should it have? But if it doesn't, I can still live without it. So this is really the most important part, to clearly define what is this software doing in terms of automating processes or specific details it needs to have. Then I think there's some basics you should add, like support, price, onboarding, time implementation, that you best really just take an Excel sheet or another spreadsheet and add all of these points in that spreadsheet. So you have clearly defined what are the parameters, what am I looking at, and then you go find, I'm going to be very generous if you don't go for that many, but I would say let's look at 5 to 10 products in that category globally. Probably half of them you can eliminate because they don't do the must-have elements. You can probably get rid of them quickly, and then focus on maybe 2 to 5 products that cover the must-haves, and start a detailed evaluation. Look at the demo, have an overall image of the system, and then rank them. Obviously, again, there You can have some gut feeling in there. You're going to see the demo. You're going to judge, is this interface better than this interface for me? That is clear. It's not a scientific approach to it, but it gives it a bit more of a structured approach. If you can even do that over multiple people that are involved in the software selection, that adds even more value. So you can actually have input from different people. This way you can get it from sort of a purely gut feeling, or I spoke to one person, I got one recommendation on the tool, away to sort of a more diligent and structured approach to selecting the right software for whatever purpose it is. Get a clear structured approach, define your functionality, and then look at different tools looking at these functionalities. But maybe let's go into a more specific example. Why don't you give us a couple of ideas, Maria, when it comes to channel management, in this context of channel management? What, again, obviously also when it comes to channel management, it depends for every property, but what are some of the things that you would put in the category of must-haves when it comes to channel management software?
So yeah, Alicia, so the must-haves, of course, are always the most important. First of all, is that you have to check what are the OTA connections. Your most important OTAs have to have a connection, of course. So yeah, Booking, Expedia, whatever. So first of all, of course, this is important. Then, if you are working with a PMS and a revenue management system, it needs to have a connection as well, of course. This is the second thing. Then, when it comes to a connectivity, we also recommend the quality, to check the quality data between the PMS and and the channel managers, and of course from the channel manager to the different OTAs, to your most important OTAs. That is always is a secure connection, is a fast connection, and you get all the information. You can send it and you can receive it. Then also a very important part are the credit cards. So the BCI DSS compliance is a must. It's very important that all the companies that accept the process, store and transmit the credit cards are secure. So make sure before you select any channel manager that this is included as well. The flexibility to display your rooms and rate structures, that you can add the rates, all the rate plans you have. If you need to have more than one, you have a lot of rate plans, make sure that they accept you to have more than one. Then the transparency is also very important, that when you go to the channel manager, that you have access to all the histories. If you want to find out availability, when has the availability been sent and transmitted to all the OTAs, or when has a price change been done, and why am I getting a wrong reservation with a wrong price, that you always have the possibility to go and see all these details without having to, of course, check with someone. So I think these are the most important parts of things that need to be in part, so has to have in a channel manager. And there, of course, we have other things that are nice to have if it's possible, like, for example, a price derivation, automatization. So if you have, for example, 3-4 rate plans and you have a mother rate, you're sending the price to a mother rate to your channel manager, and then you have a price derivation in the channel manager, let's say for a non-refundable rate with a minus 10% discount, which you can then define in your channel manager. You have access to change that. You can also change that per season, for example, depending on the season when you want to apply different discounts. Then, of course, support is nice to have. If you have a good support, which you can reach by email or even by telephone, that they are available. And they are available also in different languages, depending on where your hotel is located and what your staff speaks. So different languages, if they are available, of course, it's nice to have as well. So if you have different users in the system, that different users can have a different login. So you can always check the history as well of these users, always follow what they are doing, what not doing, and you have the history there. This is something nice to have as well. Then things to add as well is regarding the contract, that always make sure, of course, what kind of contract you have. Is the contract pricing model? Is the contract a subscription? Depending on how many rooms and rates you have, you'll pay more or less. And also depends on your needs. If it's very basic, very clear, of course, you can have a basic contract. But if you have more, if you need a lot of different rate plans, a lot of different rooms, you can have a more complicated, let's say, bigger contract. So, and how much are the monthly costs? Of course, compare, check with different channel managers. What are they offering? Is the setup and the training included in the contract? Of course, if this is an extra fee, which is of course very important in the beginning when you start to do the setup and the training until you get used to work with the system. It's very important. Then to check as well the contract duration, if it's of 1 year, and then or if you have to stay for 3 years. So this is something very important to check before you sign. Also the support costs, if they are support is unlimited included, or if you have support hours during a month. This is something you have to check as well. If you have a lot of staff working with the system, all of them need support, all of them need different training. So this is something you have, of course, to check as well. And if there is a possibility to have a free trial period, so without any cancellation penalty, that if you say, okay, I want to try the system for 1 month, and if I don't like it, of course, I would like them to stop the contract without having to wait for a year. So yeah, these are I think the most things that are important to select the channel manager.
I think that's really, I think there we can already see you put, for example, support in the nice to have or the specific language support. So I think this is really already a good example to say, look, these are some ideas, these are some points to consider. In what category exactly it falls, in what software might differ. Somebody might say, no, I'm happy with great support and access to support purely in English, and others will say, no, I need to have my native language. I need to have German support or French support or whatever language support directly. That is an absolute must-have for my team. And there you have these huge differences where what is a must-have for one house can be a nice-to-have for another house, and vice versa.
Correct.
Let's maybe look at sort of the parties involved. As I mentioned quickly before, it's really important in any change management, in any change that is going on, to really involve and especially be aware. If you involve them or not, that's another discussion, but really be aware of all the stakeholders, all the people involved that are going to be touched. If we look, for example, at channel management, it's really useful also to just make a map of that, really show who is involved in the project, who is touched, and who do I want to involve at what point. If we look at channel management, you have to determine internally who's involved. Is maybe reservations involved? Will the reservations team have to check the reservations or access the channel manager to see the reservations? Is reception working on the reservations or changing availabilities in the system? Is maybe the revenue manager involved in accessing the system for pricing and etc.? That is really important, and also defining sort of the responsibilities. What team and what person internally does what in this project? And then obviously also externally, depends very much on what you're working with. In some scenarios, you might have external IT companies that you need for the PMS integration. You might have, obviously, you have the channel management provider, the property management system provider, if you do the integration that is involved in the system. And you might have other partners like a booking engine, the OTAs, the GDS, that might be involved to a certain extent or not. Your webmaster, as I said, maybe an external IT that might be involved in certain scenarios of the project. And that's really important, that before you start that you're aware of all of these and that you check who does what when. To jump into the example here, I quickly just want to go back to explain the basics of the data flow of channel management. So I think that also afterwards helps us, or Maria, then you can maybe go back into it and explain a little bit more how they all play together and why it's relevant in this change project when it comes to channel management. I'm just going to share my screen here. I'm just going to add my screen here, and we'll just quickly look at the data flow when it comes to channel management. So the scenario we have here at the moment is that your hotel is connected or is working with your property management system that is integrated with the channel manager, that is then integrated with all the OTAs and online platforms, booking engine, etc. If we look at the data flow, you work directly as the hotel in your PMS where you change prices and availabilities. This is now a scenario where we don't have a dedicated revenue management system. That would look slightly different, but basically the property management system will send in, let's say, a standard scenario, will send the availabilities and prices to the channel manager. The channel manager then distributes this information. The prices, the inventory will be sent to all the connected platforms. Here, we at Hotel Spider work with a bulk inventory where all the availabilities are the same, and you can really start working on your strategy based on the prices, the restrictions, and booking rules. So all of that is managed in the channel manager. And then when a reservation comes, the reservation comes from the OTA into the channel manager. So also if you already worked with the channel manager and you add a new PMS, a lot of these reservations might already be in the system, and then the reservations go back. Now, maybe Maria, you can take over. I'm going to stop here sharing my screen, and you can maybe just give us a bit of an idea of these in this context. What are the different steps exactly when it comes to this channel management project?
Of course. So, of course, once hotel signed the contract, we start with the setup. So we contact the hotel to find out rooms, rates, what exactly are their needs. So we make the setup, we create the rooms, we create the rates in the system. And if there is a PMS connection, we send all the codes that are necessary to the PMS. And then they start to make the mapping with our system with the different codes. So important, of course, is to know with the hotel needs to find out with the PMS what are the possibilities, what is possible to send, where are the limitations, if there are any information, any things in the PMS that can't be transmitted, that they know that they have then to manually fill that out in the channel manager. Most of the time it's not necessary, but of course sometimes this could be also one thing that needs, of course, to be checked. So we receive then the information from the PMS to our channel manager. The hotel then has to check all the information. If everything is fine, we make a few checks of inventory, prices, if minimum stays, all this information. If everything is fine, then we can start to activate the connections with the OTAs. So once we connect them, we will. The hotel can also check on the OTA side if all looks fine. We start to receive reservations from the OTAs. We can import them from some of the portals as well. So any reservations in the future can be imported, and they will be forwarded also to the PMS if they are not there yet, of course. Yes, also the same for the GDS connection will be the same, and for the booking engine, if it's a part of our contract, we will of course help the hotel to load all the information as well for the booking engine, and all the descriptions, if any add-ons, all this will be done during the setup. Yeah, and once everything is running normally, the hotel can continue working with the system. If they need any additional training, of course, they can contact us anytime. But this is more or less what is the setup in order to make everything working with the connections.
But then also we have sort of different scenarios depending on a PMS situation and not. I think one scenario we don't see that often is actually if both is completely new. So let's say if all properties opening newly, they have a new PMS, they have a new channel manager. Can you maybe give us some ideas of what are the things to remember, or the challenges, or maybe or just the
Of
details on a
course,
project
yeah.
like that, if just everything is a blank slate, there's nothing connected?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, new hotel, new PMS, and a new channel manager needs in this case. So, in these scenarios, offers the most flexibility with selecting the right software. So, you can start from the beginning. Sometimes existing hotels are stuck with outdated systems that don't support modern technologies such as self-check-in terminals, online payment solutions, meta connections, etc. So once all your systems are live and in use, it can be very time consuming and costly to change to another software. So better make the right choices from the start. Check out the new players on the market and find out what innovations they have and come up with. All programs should be cloud-based so that you and your staff and the support team can access the software anytime and from anywhere. Maybe think about going for an all-in-one solution. So, of course, this is something then you have to discuss all these things with your PMS and, of course, the new channel manager, and to check which one is the best solution for you. Then we
Yeah, I
have
think they're
another,
always.
yeah, sure,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, that you really have to a blank slate. You can do whatever you want. You can have a look at the newest thing. You can take these decisions. There we come back into the discussion. Best of breed. Do you go for really the best in class and work with connectivity and integrations, or do you take something all of out of one provider, all from one hand? That's definitely also discussion to have, and a point to look at. What is the scenario, sort of, if you have a existing PMS but you're adding a new channel manager?
So yeah, the first thing, of course, is to check whether channel manager, the connections that are available. If of course is it's connected to the PMS, that is the most important. Ask your PMS support team. So if they know a system, or they recommend a channel manager, if there is any with any system which they have a good experience, which works reliable in combination with their software. So would be the easiest to ask them. If it's not clear whether all relevant functionalities are working between the systems, arrange a phone conference with both parties to discuss a possible setup, what is possible and what is not possible. Communicate the date of a new connection clearly and timely to the PMS and to the channel manager support team, so that they can arrange the activation and testing. Very important, because we have a lot of cases that, of course, sometimes it's maybe the PMS hasn't been informed, or maybe the channel manager, we have not been informed, and then maybe the date has to be switched because one of both parties is not available. So yes, from
Yeah,
the
I think
beginning, always inform both.
I think there the big challenge is also that you have everything connected, everything is live, so you have to take these decisions. Do I go offline during this change? Do I stop selling during this period? That's why we also always recommend to time it well, to have a good timing on this, and depending on the scenario, makes most sense to just go offline completely, not sell online. Any other scenarios, you can just do it smoothly at the same time. But really, I think that's the biggest challenge, that you have everything already in place, and you have to introduce a new system into an already live infrastructure. And then you have sort of the last, and in my opinion, often one of the fastest and easiest projects, is if you don't have a PMS connection, if everything runs through the channel manager directly. Maybe a couple of points to that, or I mean, in my opinion, it's always the best if the PMS is connected, but we do still see a lot of hotels that work without that. What are some of the things to pay attention there?
Sure, or some hotels that are using PMS that is a small PMS, in-house PMS, that there is no connection available. So of course they have to do the update it manually. So of course, very important here is they have to go into the system and update the availability rates and booking rules manually in the system. So of course, to have to check if the system is user friendly, is easy to use, should define offers so that they are user friendly, clearly structured extranet. So often input data via your mobile device and go. So make sure that the backend is optimized for anyone, that is cloud-based and everyone can use it. Yeah, and multiple users, of course, that can use it from different systems.
Yeah, I think there also, again, what we see there, often the data input gets more complicated. You need to duplicate, you need to work in your PMS, you need to work in your channel manager. So obviously we always recommend to connect the PMS if that's possible. But again, there is option to simplify the hotel's life. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges there, to really get the data in, to have all of this manual work, which again is error prone. I think these are sort of the scenarios we wanted to look at, give a bit of an idea of change management and software implementation in general, and specifically also look at the process for channel management projects. I think a couple of the key points for me are, very globally, remember to think of all the stakeholders and involve them, let's say, as early as necessary or as early as relevant. Clearly define your functionality. Don't just go with gut feeling. Clearly define what you need and what's nice to have. Take a structured approach. Take the time to actually evaluate. And then also another element, create clear responsibility. Who does what partner has to do what, when. Clear responsibility also internally, especially when it comes to projects that you've never implemented. There, a partner gets so important. Get somebody that knows what they're doing, that have done projects like this before, that can also sort of guide you in the right direction. I think these are the most important points for the topic. We're also running up to our 30 minutes line. Did you want to? Yes. Sorry. No, we have a question from the audience. Okay, this is very product specific. A question through YouTube, if specifically Hotel Spider supports multiple OTA listings. So in Airbnb, very specifically, if it's connected to your user account, you will have different listings. With other OTAs, it's usually depending on the geolocation of the vacation rental, and there what we do, so that could be one of the functionality that's a must-have or a nice-to-have in your list. We work with multiple connections, so we can connect one connection to booking.com or X connections, N connections to booking.com, and have the different platforms like this in one system. An element there to consider is obviously also how are they structured in your property management system, but in general, Hotel Spider has the option to connect for example, vacation rentals, or also if you have multiple, a chalet in the hotel. That's a scenario we often see. We can connect multiple OTA listings from one channel management platform. So that's a great input. Thank you very much for the question on YouTube. I encourage you, if you have any other questions, now would be the moment. Audience questions. I don't know, Maria, do you have any inputs for the topic? I got thrown into the viewer's question quickly. Do you have any inputs? Did we miss something?
No, I think that was the most important information. So of course, if they have questions, you can always contact us. So yeah, we are here to answer.
Cool. So any last audience questions, post them now. I don't see anything yet. For your information, we'll take a little break from the live sessions. We've done them now for half a year, and we want to take a little moment over summer to evaluate this format, to discuss the format. I'm quite sure we will be back with more live sessions, but the specific format we still have to discuss over summer, collect some topics, and then we will communicate exactly when and where the next session is going to be, you can follow us obviously on all the social media platforms, and we will share the information there, or you can subscribe to our newsletter through our website, and we will inform you as well about the situation with the next live stream. So at the moment, we don't have any plans, but I'm quite sure we will be back with more live sessions in the future. So follow us to tune in again there. I think that's it. Thank you very much, Maria, for jumping in last minute and helping me out with this topic. And thank you very much for watching, for listening. And thank you very much and have a great day. And
Thank you
if you
very
have any
much,
further
Alicia.
questions, write to us.
Speak to you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye bye.